That is the birthright blessing. A woman, and only one group of women. And this is why I knew that my wife was my wife, because she's in that group of women. So the opposite of the birthright blessing is the first fruit blessing. Adam was the first fruit blessing of earth because he was created first. Eve, it was the birthright blessing. She was created second, and she had the womb to produce children. First fruit blessing, birthright blessing. In heaven, there is a being called Lucifer. He was a twin. The Bible, the British, the English, when they translated the Bible, they called the twin brother Gabriel. That's not his name. His name is Michael Emmanuel Jr. He's the other archangel that stands across from Michael Emmanuel. It's Michael Emmanuel covering on this side, and it's Michael Emmanuel Jr. covering on this side. Michael Emmanuel Jr. and Lucifer were twins. Lucifer had the first fruit blessing. Michael Emmanuel Jr., birthright blessing. That's why he's still in heaven. It's the spiritual covenant with God. On earth, same thing. Cain and Abel. First fruit blessing. Abel is the birthright blessing. But the problem with the first fruit, before Cain, Adam was the first fruit blessing, I told you. And Adam chose to follow Satan. So sin was introduced. And then Adam and Eve's first two sons were twins, Cain and Abel. And Cain came out first. First fruit blessing. Abel had the birthright blessing. And Cain also chose to follow Satan. First fruit blessing just means the physical wealth and the physical lands that the father lived in are inherited by the child of the first fruit blessing if the parents remained in the covenant and are still obedient and faithful and have an inheritance to leave. If the parents were disobedient, then and they don't have nothing to leave the kids and they're slaves, of course they don't have an inheritance. It doesn't matter if you're a firstborn, if your parents aren't in the covenant and you don't have anything to leave. But we've taught the world how to enter back into their covenant. That at 50 you can reclaim your inheritance. We've taught the world all of these things. First fruit blessing, the birthright blessing. We've taught the world the correct version of all of these things. But there's a pattern emerging that I need you to see. Lucifer, Michael Emmanuel Jr., first fruit blessing, birthright blessing. Adam, first fruit blessing. Cain and Abel, first fruit blessing, birthright blessing. Also, every other child in the family is under the birthright blessing. Because when God said, I will expand your nation as far as like the sands on the seashore, the expansion of the nation happens through the birthright blessing. Because the original family lands that all of the family knows goes to the firstborn. But the other children in the spiritual covenant with God have to go anywhere away from the family's lands because they belong to the firstborn. So when they go to different lands that the family never lived in, God is saying, I will bless you in any land that you go in, and the land will bring forth fruit, and you will have dominion, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth, because you have the holy spiritual covenant with me, and I will bless the earth and it will produce. So the other children would scatter to the four winds of earth and God would bless them. So the family would have multiple lands now That happens under the birthright blessing. No other child can receive the first fruit inheritance blessing. Only the firstborn. And the firstborn is just what it says. Whoever is first. That's the definition. Whoever is first is the firstborn. So here's another pattern. Esau and Jacob, twins again. Same thing happened. Esau came out firstborn. Jacob came out second. Jacob accepted the spiritual covenant with God, and Esau rejected it. Just like Cain, just like Lucifer, there's a pattern. The firstborn, the only firstborn that has ever righteously entered into the covenant with God is Noah's son. Because he wasn't the first of the firstborns. This pattern had emerged, and he got to see how the firstborns kept leading the world into idolatry, and God judged it. And I am just like Jacob, in that I am my mother's firstborn son. But I'm not my mother's firstborn child. What I'm saying is, originally it was just my older sister and then me. So then I was the child of the birthright. I was the birthright child, like Jacob, until I was like 12 or 13. Then my mother had my younger brother. So at first, my sister is the firstborn, first fruit blessing. And then I was the second child, so I was the child of the birthright blessing. That is why I knew I had to find a bride and give her the wedding dowry in exchange for the children, the offspring that she would give me to give back to God. I owed her the tangible wealth in exchange for the children. And she would be an heir in our family. And they would be heirs. Birthright blessing. But then when I became 13, my mother has another son, which then made me firstborn son.